this DEI thing. I know that it's become an ad hominem, but quite honestly, I've seen a lot of content on this. Diversity, equity, inclusion is kind of our sub-pillars of ethical behavior. The principle of we're playing a game together, okay? We're a system, and if we want to work together where there's a win-win-win-win-win-win situation, this needs to be part of our DEA, that there's rules that apply to everybody. Everybody has the same consequences. Everybody has the same privileges. I think this is a key element to build trust, because you can make all sorts of decisions, but there's a huge connection between building trust, getting engagement to people that they'll even listen to you. Because I don't know how often I've tried to make decisions in certain environments where people are not even willing to listen to me because I've forgotten that, or I haven't spent enough time building a relation. And you mentioned how important it is that a leader includes others. I don't like the present president, but I don't think he makes a lot of his own decisions. I think he's famous for, I don't want to exaggerate the negative parts of it, but the positive part of making decisions, and I think this is one of the key things that leaders have to understand. Leaders are often not in the position to know the answer. I think the skill set of a leader is the ability to aggregate options by engaging people at different levels, being able to talk to the different, facets of the issue, right? Maybe talk to IT department, maybe talk to us with finance department. What are your pain points? Talk to sales, talk to the client, okay? And to aggregate this information and use kind of also a structured groupthink process to decide what is the problem and what are the potential solutions, which brings us back to that pragmatic concept of, because where are you going to get a lot of ingenious ideas? I'm a big fan of watching Dr. House, although I find he's a terrible personality, but I still like watching the show. He has this concept where he has a bunch of doctors that he treats like crap, which I'm not recommending you do as a leader. I don't think it's a way to be a good leader. But what he does is he gets different ideas, and they, these different ideas, they feed off each other, and they give you the possibility of making mistakes and learning from mistakes. I think if I were to give anybody advice on leadership when it comes to making better decisions, is learn to listen more. Learn to do management by walking around and asking people, getting all sides of the perspective. And also very, very important, letting people believe that the decision is not yours, but theirs. Would you agree that that's part of good decision making?
Absolutely. That's, I think, in line with generating options is obviously to listen to other people and to find perspectives that maybe you couldn't have thought of yourself. The taking care about good decisions is also a question of awareness, right? So being aware of other factors that are not so single, not your single-minded purpose only, but that are a bit broader. So this kind of broadening of your horizon is certainly a key aspect of it. Now, obviously, there are some objections to this theory, because you can say, okay, I have a whole array of opinions now and of options. So how can I make sure I don't choose the most profitable option rather than the ethical option? Or actually, I make this trade-off as well. So this is really where the consciousness comes in and where the values come in.
And the question is, who's profiting? Because there's different ways to profit.
Right. So
is it individual profit? It's kind of this trade-off factor. Am I sacrificing the benefit of society, my team, or is it just the shareholder? I mean, I think one of the biggest transgressions of Harvard Business School in the last 30, 40 years is the concept of shareholder value.
Yeah. So shareholder value was certainly a very ingenious way to describe of how sort of everything a company does in the end tickles down to that one number, the dividends, right, and the market value of a company. And of course, there's a lot of power in that. But we know today that the premise of that idea is the market efficiency hypothesis, which is a very good hypothesis, but it's certainly proven wrong to at least for 100%. So here we know there are externalities that are not factored in here, and it comes down to a question of fairness, right? So if stockholders get all the profit, it just doesn't represent, any fairness in our society anymore. So it is, in a way, it is nice to actually think this through until its entire absurd extreme. When you really have the 1% who own everything, well, they will have a pretty sad life as well, right? Because if they live in a society where everybody is begging them for money on the streets, right?